So anyway, let's just dive right into it then. So chapter 318, The Last Station, part 3. And so this time we do start off with Druck. Last time we started off with him being complained about, and now we actually start off with him, and, you know, he's kind of waking up from a nap. He's actually brushing his teeth, but I mean, he is so lazy that he's not even using his hand to hold the brush. He's using his power to hold the brush to his mouth. So it's just super funny to me. And, you know, he was even telling, I'm not sure who he was talking to. I don't know if it was Dorian Frog or someone else. Maybe that person that Dorian Frog was talking to last chapter. But he was all like, oh, like, you know, this, like, hassle gave me a headache. I needed to, like, sleep it off. And that's where they're saying, like, oh, how can you call this a castle? You're going to get yourself fired if you keep talking or thinking like that. So, Druck is just my spirit animal, though. And honestly, I would love to be part of the Lar family just so I can sleep. Because they really do cherish their nap time. It's wonderful. And I need to catch up on sleep. Like, I'm not gonna lie. I don't sleep 8 hours a night. I sleep probably closer to like 6 or 7. So yeah, sleep would be nice at some point. So anyway, the train is moving again because, of course, as we left off last chapter, the engineer put it to high speed to try and get past these closing doors of the dock, or to the dock. And because the train is moving again, there's like a good 3 people intent on stopping this train, and they end up succeeding in doing so. You know, they kind of throw attacks, and then the mucus, it almost kind of like becomes solid, or I don't know if it's like just sticky again, and it just kind of holds the train in place, and the train isn't moving anywhere. And so White takes notice of this because he's the only one on the outside. And I mean, I would assume that people on the train would feel that too. But anyway, White's attention then draws to a sword. And so that's when he realizes, like, oh shoot, that last attack I used drained a lot of my power, and now I'm gonna need time to get back to that, like, 100%. And of course, Dorian takes the chance. I mean, she doesn't know that, but precisely she's calling forth Pollock. And Pollock is this ancient frog who is also a fan of chicken. And I'm like, hey, like, he and I need to, like, hit up Raising Cane's sometime, because I'm such a big fan of Raising Cane's. If you guys haven't had Raising Cane's, please do. It's amazing chicken fingers. It's so good. So anyway, enough of my nonsense. So it didn't have a name in the chapter, even though in the blog notes, SIU referred to it as Wing Wing, I believe. Yeah, Wing Wing. Okay, cool. So the frog, Pollock, unleashes this attack called Wing Wing. It's kind of like a wind attack because it sends SIU. Wow. No, it doesn't send SIU anywhere. It sends White flying. And for me, I mean, at first I was like, oh, shoot, like, it could be bad because, you know, who knows where he flew off to and how far off he flew. You know, and, like, the train could be a danger because, you know, White was kind of like a step 1 for their plan. But here's my actual thought on it. It actually works out, because it gives White the chance to recuperate 100% without having to worry about fighting anybody, without having to worry about defending himself, because if the frog had unleashed some attack that could have, like, hit him and weakened him, that would have been bad, because then, you know, whatever level he's on right now, like, it would have lowered, right? His energy would have gone down some more. Or if he was forced to defend himself or counter the attack. I mean, we've seen, like, the attacks that Baum and Young Zahard fired at each other on the hidden floor, where it's like they'd kind of meet in the middle. So, I mean, thankfully it wasn't something like that, because that would have also required some power and energy from White, and that would have, you know, brought him down to even a weaker state. So that would have been bad. And so that's why I'm saying, oh, it's good that it was just some wind attack that sent him flying away. Because he will come back. You know? And it's funny because Dorian's like, oh, well, you know, he's not so much of a big shot as he claimed to be. But I'm like, girl, you're in for a surprise when he comes back. So, just saying. All right. And then, as I mentioned before, the train is stuck again. They're stopped. And Huariun basically tells the conductor that at this point, it's all up to Yuri and what she's going to decide to do. Whether she's going to go through with what Huariun had suggested to her, or if she's going to refuse and not do it. And like I said earlier, Evan was, you know, trying to offer some advice to Yuri, like, hey, like, are you sure we can trust this girl from Foog? Like, she could be tricking us. And Yuri's like, nah, let's do this. And I really loved this line that she provided. So let me scroll real quick to find it. Because, okay, while I'm searching for it, it reminded me a lot of, you know, Garam, who defected from, you know, her role as a Zahard's princess. And then even that conversation that she had with Andrasi, I would love to pull it up on my Tumblr, but I'm obviously using my phone right now. And on work computer, like, my Tumblr can get finicky, so it's like I don't want to risk it. But anyway, I will go ahead and like post an image of that post. It reminded me a lot of that conversation that Andrasi was having with Garam, because Andrasi was all like, oh, well, you know, do I really want to stay in my role as a princess, or do I want to kind of pull a Garam and leave and, you know, kind of go about things the way I want to? And so I've reached the point here now. Yuri's line is, let's give it a shot. I'm tired of playing the role of a good little princess. So I think it's so cool how, you know, I mean, they each have their own identity, but I feel like they might feel that the title of Zahard's princess kind of defines them in like a certain way, like not so much in a possessive way, but it's just like they're kind of restricted, you know, from certain freedoms, which is true, because it's like they can't have a boyfriend, they can't get married, they can't have kids. Obviously, Anak Sr. did that, but, you know, it's like they would have more freedom if they kind of stepped out of that role and out of that title. And so I think it's so cool to just see, I mean, we kind of saw it with Garam first, and then, you know, Andrasi was kind of following suit, like, ooh, should I do what Garam did? And now Yuri's even like, oh, hey, like, I'm tired of playing this role. So it's interesting, and I'm really curious to see if Andrasi and Yuri will defect at some point. Or, I mean, things could change. I mean, if Zahard gets taken down, they might stay as a Zahard's princess. It just depends on how that situation could change and all that. So anyway, enough about that. Troops. So the Zahard's army troops are being sent to go into the train, and among them is Pinnacle and Kong. And I do want to give a shout out to Phenom Uprising. He left a comment, and I didn't even think about that, because I was just like in such a rush on 316, like naming all the characters that we met toward the end. I'm like, there's this character, and this character, and this character. I only commented on like the Flubber dude, and then Levi and Drock, of course, because they were my favorites. But Pinnacle does look a lot like Pericule. As Phenom Uprising said here, Pinnacle really looks like Pericule. They might be related. And he was even surprised that I didn't even comment on that. And I'm like, dang, you're right. Like, I think I kind of noticed that. And I was like, oh, that kind of looks like Pericule, but I didn't even comment it out loud. I was just like so drawn to the Flubber guy, I guess. It's like, there's only so many green people I can comment on. But, yeah, no, I agree. There's got to be some kind of relation there. At first, I was debating if it was really Pericule, you know? I think that would be kind of cool if it was him and he just, like, changed his name and now he's gonna get revenge against all these people, right? Especially Rock. But, anyway, Kong is the seal guy, and Kong is a ticketer, so he's the only one who can open a door to the train based on what Pinnacle says. And before they even get close enough to the door, it's already opening. And I mean, this is all Huarion's doing, because she told the engineer, like, hey, open this certain door and this certain door. And so obviously from one of them, Karaka emerges this time. And they're both stunned at seeing a rancor. They're like, oh my gosh. And so because they're kind of like left frozen, I guess, I don't know, they don't attack him. And so that's when others step in and they're trying to like get some attacks in on Karaka. And I'm guessing the second door that opened up was Yuri, because she was ready to get into action on this plan. And she's the one who shows up. And she's like, whoa, 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 whoa. Like, back away from my prey. That's mine, not yours. Don't attack him. And she's also holding both the Green April and Black March, which was awesome. I loved that so much. I'm like, dude, I want to see these swords in action. I want her to use them on these people. So at seeing this, Cheon Hee Ha, I'll put a picture of her again so you guys see her, but I mentioned her in like the last chapter review that I did on this video. The one that I didn't name in chapter 16 or 316. But anyway, she commands everyone to stop what they're doing and to bow down to the master of the 13th month. Because, you know, it's a big deal, as was mentioned in the blog notes, that a princess be having hold of these 13 months. I mean, if she had Evan with her, that would have been like a more impactful thing, right? I mean, based on the blog notes that SIU left for us. But at the same time, even though they are paying their respects because Xian Hiha told her, or told them to, it's interesting because when she says, you know, show some respect, respect is in quotation marks. So the respect isn't going to last very long because she's suspecting Yuri. She's like, oh, well, she called on to this attack, and let me quote her better off. I don't want to be misquoting here. She said, signal from the train to destroy them, but why is she still on the train? So she has suspicions of Yuri, and, you know, I feel like the utmost respect is going to be not held for too long. And then the last thing that I want to point out about this chapter was the fact that, you know, when they were on, it was previous to them being on the hidden floor, Yuri and Karaka had gotten into that fight, right? And so it's like, normally they would fight each other, but I feel like this is clearly an act so that all these people aren't ganging up on Karaka. And so, I mean, this is just like the first step to this part of the plan that Hwaryun has in mind. So we'll see next chapter, or, you know, even like the next few ones, what's up with this? Because, yeah, I mean, they're not going to randomly continue their fight right here, right now, when, you know, they're trying to, like, get everyone on the Hell Train to safety, and, you know, on top of that, like, dealing with the Zahard's army. So this is definitely an act that Yuri is putting up. I'm wondering if Karaka's in on it, too. He's got to be, I feel. So, anyway, that was it for chapter 318. So we'll go ahead and take a look at the blog notes real quick, and then we will call it a day. All right, so end note. The white coin has gone into an adjusting phase, of course. The Yuri coin has gone into a rapid rising phase. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm so excited for when she's going to use friggin' Black March and Green April. Like, I'm so excited for that. All right, the drawing of today's postscript is a gangster version of Yuri. I can see that, yeah. Even among Zahard's princesses, Yuri is a princess who was bestowed with the 13th month, and that makes her very influential among the Zahard family and Ha family. That is the reason why she still stays unharmed despite her history of recklessly messing around with stuff. This episode began with White's ordeal, even though White looked pretty badass in the previous episode. He has been sent away, afar, by the frog's wing. He didn't die, though, haha. Of course he didn't die. He wouldn't die that easily. Like, that'd be, like, the dumbest death of all time. All right. Well, while it's true that White is still not perfect, the frog handled by Frog is a very powerful ancient frog as well. Frog may have a lower ranking than Yuri, but is still a high ranker. So actually, let's call her Dorian, because this whole frog thing is going to be confusing. So let me reread that again. Well, while it's true that White is still not perfect, the frog handled by Dorian is a very powerful ancient frog as well. Dorian may have a lower ranking than Yuri, but is still a high ranker. It's pretty evident from how Dorian managed to stop the train alone, while 3 rankers had to collaborate together to stop it. So yeah, I hadn't thought about that before. Like, Frog was able to easily stop the train, while it took 3 rankers to stop it again. I mean, granted, I feel like, you know, the train was moving faster, I guess, and so that's why 3 rankers were required to stop it. But I mean, I could see SIU's point on that. I mean, he's the writer, he's the creator of all this, so I shouldn't doubt what he's saying. Of course, Dorian's tier is still far below compared to White's at his prime. I actually used the infamous frog internet meme while drawing the frog, but I couldn't use the word fuck as it is, so changed it to chicken instead. I don't know what he's talking about. Anyway, since the train has stopped again, the crisis of Team Bomb will be continued. It looks like there's no way out based on what's present. I mean, for now, yeah, they're kind of like stuck in there, but I'm sure there will be a way. I mean, Hwaryun's got all this planned out, and, you know, she'll find a way. By the way, when Zahard or a princess with a 13th month appears on the battlefield, the Zahard's army has to kneel before. He or she, with no exception, no matter what's going on, they must get down on their knees. It's because they have faith in Zahard or the Zahard princess that he or she will protect them even if something goes wrong. That's how much the Zahard princess means to the Zahard's army. And well, the Zahard's army is strong enough to do something insane like that. So that too. I mean, we saw too when Mashini went to go talk to Jinsung, how, you know, she would throw like random attacks at the army and it's like they didn't do anything because it's like, oh, princess, you're not aiming right. Like, that's about all they could do. I mean, if they even tried to do something against her, that would have been stupid. All right, anyway, with Yuri's appearance, the atmosphere has shifted once again. Hope you guys will stay tuned to see whether Team Bomb will be able to safely enter the station. I'm sure, like I said, I'm sure there's going to be a way that it works out for them, but just a matter of time, I guess. As for my personal business, recently my neck hasn't been so well, so I'm thinking of whether I should have some posture correction. I mean, I've been there, done that. I've had back issues, so I've had to do physical therapy a few times in the past. But anyway, but then maybe I'm being too greedy to wish to retain a healthy posture for my neck while drawing. Hope you guys will make a habit of having good postures too. So have a happy and healthy week as always, and I will try to bring the next chapter next week with no hassle. I'm thankful for all of you who have come all the way down to my blog and left me comments. Thank you. So yeah, that concludes this twofer review of chapters 317 and 318. I know it was a long one, but, you know, I appreciate you guys tuning in and sticking around, and I look forward to seeing what you guys think and, you know, what predictions you have for next chapter or down the road. I mean, it's the usual stuff, right, guys? So that being said, thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate it, and I will catch you guys next week. Peace.